Matty, the Bombers were really good for the first half and then showed some fight in the last quarter. What did you make of the game against Hawthorn?
I thought it was a pretty much better effort, Simon. I thought that the first quarter, you just saw the energy the guys had played with had been a pretty. I think the break came at the right time. I thought the ball movement was much better. The guys looked to get it through the corridor, on every occasion. Took a few risks. Some of the risks obviously resulted in Hawthorn goals, but I think it was really bold sort of play, similar to the way West Coast are trying to play, coming through the corridor, getting run and overlap. Obviously, it was a same old story of the last month, though, that instead of being maybe 5 goals 2, the Bombers were 2 goals 5, which really hurt the confidence, I suppose, early in the game of the whole team.
Can that have an effect later on in the game? Obviously, the Bombers were up and about early, but weren't finishing off as they would have liked and came in sort of pretty much even at quarter time when maybe they could have been a couple of goals up.
Yeah, I think it does hurt the confidence, no doubt. I don't think it cost Essendon the game, maybe like it probably could have cost maybe the Richmond game earlier in the year. I just thought probably in the third quarter, the contest around the ball, they were much harder. Got the ball, I think they maybe had 16 or 17 inside 50s in that third quarter. They missed plenty of opportunities themselves throughout the game, but I just probably thought, just that drop-off, the misses in the first quarter and the drop-off in the centre bounce area in that third quarter, probably just why the Bombers are probably 4 and 8 and the Hawks are 8 and 4. It's probably the difference. They probably play more consistently throughout games.
We saw a couple of tactical adjustments. One included Jobe Watson spending more time in the forward half. He ended up with 18 possessions, probably in the midfield he's up around 25, so you lose a few there, but were you happy with what he was able to provide in the forward half?
Yeah, I thought the selections of, Winderlich didn't have a lot of footy. Jobe didn't win as much footy as he normally would, but I just think the forward line looked much more dangerous. Carlisle and Danaher plus 4 smalls. I thought it was, Edwards didn't have a great game, but I just thought that, they looked dangerous every time the ball went inside forward 50. Took plenty of marks. I thought Carlisle was a positive performance. Still, they probably should have kicked 5 goals. Finishes with 3 goals 2, whatever it was, so it's a positive sign there. Jobe would like to be going better, there's no doubt about that, but I think his influence on the forward line made them get their 10 or 21 scoring shots, I think it was, which was a real positive.
A couple of other guys that stood out. Zach Merritt's been in a rich vein of form, getting a lot of the footy now, averaging 29 possessions over the last 3 weeks, 31 on the weekend. And also Sean McKernan came into the side. Who were the standouts for you?
No doubt Zach Merritt was, I think he was probably in the top best 2 players on the ground. I think Roughhead was influential on the game, but Merritt was probably in the best 3 players. I thought his brother Jackson's showing some good signs, kicking a couple of goals, having his 15, 16 possessions. Sean McKernan, I thought he got beaten in the hit-outs, but his work around the ground was really influential. I think Brendan Goddard, he can be critiqued quite hard for what he does with his disposals, but I think his effort throughout this year has been really strong, and I thought he had another pretty impressive game on the weekend as well.
Just returning to Zach Merritt, if Jobe is spending more time in the forward half, the reliance on Merritt and Heppel, do you think they can sort of carry the Bomber midfield through on the way home?
Well, I think I think they can. I think that obviously you need 10 midfielders in this game, and I think that's the strength of the top sides. I think that Richmond, their improvement has come not from Koch and Delidio this year, but I think Brandon Ellis on the wing, Sean Griggs had a pretty solid year, Shane Edwards. So you just need to keep finding extra guys that can go through the midfield, and that's what I think the Bombers coaching staff is doing. Nick O'Brien came in on the weekend, just trying to find extra midfielders. Hopefully David Myers gets back. Heath Hocking, Ben Howlett dropped out this week, but the more you can have through that area, the better you'll be, and that's probably the difference between Fremantle, Hawthorn, Sydney, and the rest of the competition.
So a big game this weekend with Jobe Watson in line for his 200th game against the Saints. Lloyd will talk to you about that milestone and the matchups against the Saints later in the week.
Thanks a lot, Simon.